Welcome to Kitchen 143. I am your host, Michelle Aventejado, and we are back for our first episode for the new year. And I'm sure many of you, like me, we have indulged quite a bit over this holiday season. It has left as quickly as it came. And of course, now we're back in the thick of it, back to the grind. And of course, many of us may have to atone for some of our sins. I know for sure. I enjoyed those cookies a little bit too much. Okay, so how do we get back to our healthy eating habits and maybe even drop some of that extra weight that we picked up along the way with those holiday meals? Here, of course, at Kitchen 143, we are all about creating healthy habits, sharing easy recipes, and of course, showing everyone how easy it is to actually change your diet just a little bit so that you can reap the health benefits. Okay, so everything boils down to choices, and the name of this episode, of course, is Healthy Choices. There are lots of things that we can do to just choose to be healthier in the kitchen, in our lives, through wellness. And of course, we know that wellness is a lifestyle. It's not just about changing our diets. Joining me today is Mirabai Sebastian. I've actually worked with her before. Hi, Mirabai. How are you?
Hi, I'm good.
I'm so excited to be together with you again. When's the last time we were together? I think it was 2016 or 2017.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, so that time back then, you were teaching our buddies how to make healthier choices too, also with Vitamix, where we taught them how to make some fun things. So today, we're going to do that today for all of the viewers at home. And of course, guys, tell us where you're signing in from. Tell us where you're watching from. Drop that message in the chat box down below there. I can see comments. We have lots of people commenting already. Tell us where you're signing in from. Mirabai, I know you're not in Manila. Where are you today?
So I am in Davao City. Yeah.
And actually staying in Davao was a healthier choice for you, right?
Yeah. I was supposed to be going home last week on Saturday, but my flight got canceled. But it makes sense also because my family is all sick right now, so they're in the infectious stage. So at least when I come home, it'll be safe for everyone.
Right. And yeah, well, it is. You know what? It actually, the numbers are rising. We are all, of course, minding how we take care of ourselves, how we take care of each other. Of course, going out if we don't have to, better to stay at home and just make those dishes at home and choose healthy. In this case, guys, every episode we have quiz the cook questions that you get to answer if you're paying attention, and if you win, if you mind your trivia while Mirabai and I are chatting, then you get the opportunity to take home a Paderno spiralizer from Vitamix Philippines, a case of different varieties of Koita milk, both plant-based, which Mirabai and I enjoy, and of course dairy. And then you'll also get to take home some Super Scoops ice cream, which is vegan ice cream from the Superfood Grocer. In addition to that, Mirabai, do you want to tell them what you're sharing with everybody too?
Yeah, so I'm also going to be sharing copies of my ebook. It's a breakfast ebook called Breakfast Person because I'm a breakfast person. So it's it's like over 70 recipes, all vegan, super duper easy to make, and you can easily make it at home. Like you only need like this little experience in the kitchen.
Yeah, actually, I think that that's something that I love about being able to throw together the fruits and the vegetables. It's really quite easy for those of us who may not be as adept in the kitchen, right? Yeah, and I am with you in there up here for breakfast person. I am a breakfast and a brunch person too. Guys, let us know if you love breakfast. We have Melissa who's saying hello. We also have Lorna Murillo Meridor signing in from San Jose del Monte City. We also have Orchard. Hi, Orchard. How are you? She's watching from San Juan, of course. So we are so happy, Orchard, that you guys are here. And of course, that Vitamix is partnering with us for this episode. Let's see who else we have. My son is saying hello. He's here. He's in Taguig. Rochelle My High says, I love this topic. After giving birth to my twins, I need to kick off my belly fat. Well, that's okay if you have a little belly fat because you just had a baby. They need that extra cushion, especially if you're nursing. So don't be in a hurry to get rid of that. Melissa also says, Mirabai, that she is a breakfast person too. Great. Guys, we are going to talk about breakfast.
People right there. So many.
Awesome. You know what, guys? I think breakfast is probably, if I talk about even our family, Team Jellybean, we love breakfast probably a lot more than all the other meals as well. Not just me. And it's not just because I'm the mom, right? But definitely there's so many things you could do with breakfast and even more with brunch. You know, if you could serve anything for brunch as long as there's eggs on the table. Okay. So how did you celebrate Mirabai? How did you overindulge over the holidays, or is that something you're so much better at than me?
I guess I can say that I've gotten a lot better at it, but also just I have quite a bad history with food, and I've gotten to such a better a much better place with food over the past few years. So I kind of don't see myself overindulging or feeling guilty about anything I eat anymore, which I feel it takes a while to get there, but when you get there, it's a really good feeling because you don't feel this need to make yourself feel bad for eating too much chocolate. If I eat the entire bar of chocolate, I won't feel bad about it because I know that in the grand scheme of things, it's a small thing that you just have to keep on going and don't beat yourself up about it because that does nobody any good.
Agree. Totally agree. We don't need to beat ourselves up over any of that. And of course, as long as we're nourishing our bodies, I feel like treating ourselves, I do agree with you, treating ourselves every now and then shouldn't be something we feel bad about. But of course, we could make a healthier choice by choosing dark chocolate instead of milk, right?
But there is my favorite chocolate, which is from Davao. It's so good.
What is it?
You gotta try it. It's Costco's chocolate. They make they call it a golden milk chocolate because they use coconut sugar instead of white sugar, so it's darker, but it tastes like white chocolate, and it's vegan and it's so good.
Wow, I want to try that. Is it available here in Manila?
Not that one yet. They don't have a golden milk, but they do have their regular milk and their dark chocolate. It's really good. One of my favorite local chocolates, and it's all sweetened with coconut sugar. It's so good.
Definitely good for you. And if it's vegan, then it's an alternative as well for people who would like to try and explore. So that's the difference, I think, Mirabai, when she's sharing, what she's sharing actually is that you don't have to limit yourself in terms of enjoying things that, what's not to like about vegan chocolate that is sweetened with cocoa sugar? We know cocoa sugar is such a better option than, white sugar. So like you said, definitely something that I would like to try. I'm going to remember that because I have a chocolate coming up. Okay, we have some of our viewers chiming in and leaving comments. It looks like they're tagging some of their friends as well. So we have Jep Ina Sosasco, I hope I'm saying that right, saying hello. You're watching from Caloocan. So hi, I hope you guys are safe and I hope all is well. So breakfast for us, let's jump back to breakfast. Breakfast in our house usually does not include rice. So that could mean, toast or bread or cereal, whether it's like hot cereal, cold cereal, yogurt, fruit, smoothie bowls, maybe even some waffles. What does breakfast look like for you since it is your favorite meal?
It really depends. Like, I do prefer like savory breakfasts. So I love having like kimchi pancakes for breakfast. If I have rice, it's always like, um, I it'll always be rice from the day before because I'm not like I feel like it's too much work to cook rice in the morning
Yes.
for
Yeah.
my breakfast. So if there's leftovers, then I'll like cook it, and then I love like tofu scramble, or I also have a vegan omelette recipe in my ebook, which is really good. But yeah, or if I have sweet breakfast, I do love having like oatmeal, or I also love having a savory oat porridge. I have
So
like
I've never done that. I've never done savory oats. But do you have savory oats in the ebook also
I
in
do. I
breakfast
have
method?
like three. I have three. I have like a cheesy one, a mung bean one, which is actually really good. If you like
I love
mungo,
mongo. I love
if you like
mongo.
mungo, it's
Yeah.
just the best way to have it in the morning. It's
Okay, so I'm already excited for breakfast person. I don't know if you guys are or not, but I'm already excited just so that I can try some of these savory oats recipes because I'm so out. I do all of my oats and all of my cereals usually are sweet. So I'll put like if there's farina, I'll put a little bit of butter and a little bit of sugar. But if it's oatmeal, apples and cinnamon are my fave. I'll throw in some nuts for crunch because I do like texture sometimes, dried cranberries, those kind of things. But I am excited. You have me intrigued for savory oats, Mirabai.
you need to.
Okay, so talking about breakfast, guys, since I mentioned that we like to have waffles, and what I'll do actually is I'll make a big batch of waffles or a big batch of pancakes, and then I'll throw them in the freezer with parchment paper in between them so that whenever the kids want a snack or if they want to make their own breakfast, which is good because the kids are older, then they can pop them in the toaster or pop them in the microwave and make them themselves. So I'll make a big batch and then freeze it. It's another way to just save on prep time. So I'm going to share this matcha waffle recipe. It's a vegan recipe because I did want to kind of, Mirabai, you inspired me. So for these waffles, I used ingredients from Superfood and from Koita, organic almond milk, as well as the matcha powder, which of course we know matcha has a lot of benefits. Start with flour and baking powder, a little bit of salt, kosher salt. Just mix those together and then put them aside. That's your dry ingredients. And then in the bowl, I would mix all the wet. So this is the almond milk. I did put, this is coconut oil. I did put some vinegar into the coconut cream, but the chia mixture that you saw me put in is actually a vegan substitute for eggs. So it's 1 tablespoon chia, 2 tablespoons water. And just mix that up. And then we curdle the coconut cream, sorry. And we'll just mix it. So it's all wet and then all the dry. And I'll mix it in with the coconut sugar from Superfood Grocer, which of course is much better than white sugar. I also put in some desiccated coconut because I feel like coconut and matcha go really well together. And then fold in or mix in your dry. I even made a cashew coconut maple cream for the top of this, so it was really good as well. Here's where I mix in the matcha. I just put in a tablespoon. The kids don't like too much of a matcha flavor, but I really do. So if they were just for me, I could put in 2 tablespoons, but since I'm sharing with the kids, I only put in 1. Again, spraying the waffle maker with coconut oil, And it's super easy. I guess in this case, sometimes when the kids want a snack, they'll toast them a little bit crispy instead of like softer, and they'll walk around with a waffle that they can eat. But we don't feel guilty about eating anything like this because it's so easy to make and so healthy. The extra chia, of course, we know chia is good for a lot of things. It's good for digestion, obviously. I think overall, it's a superfood, right? So a lot of the ingredients that we're using today are superfoods from Superfood Grocer. They make it really easy. I put this coconut, this was a coconut cashew cream, and I just put a little bit of maple syrup in it to sweeten it. Topped it with cashews and strawberries and bananas. Like, what's better than that? That was so yummy. We've actually had that a couple of days. I think I only have a few more left in the freezer. We also have another vegan recipe that I want to share. It's an alternative to coffee, actually, not coffee, but like black coffee or a latte. This is, Gia actually suggested that I make it. So a lot of times you guys know that Gia is actively sharing recipes with me. Some of the really great ideas are from her. So Mirabai, you met Gia, I think, during the Best Buddies event. She's my eldest daughter. She's now 22. She graduated college through the pandemic. Yes.
Amazing.
Yeah. So it was her idea. She said, Mom, why don't you try and make a dirty horchata? So I called my friend up who's married to a Mexican, and we talked about horchata. So this obviously, it's a Mexican drink, very comforting, uses ground up rice, and then that's what they make the rice milk from. But when they make it, they use condensada also and agave. So in this case, to keep it vegan, we just use rice milk, put in a cinnamon stick, a tablespoon of cocoa sugar, and then this one is almond extract. Mirabai, if you were gonna sweeten this with something else other than the cocoa sugar, what's something that you would use?
I mean, I've done a horchata with like dates. You just blend it up, and then it gets it
Lovely.
has, like, caramel.
It does. It does. I will try that next time.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make because it was really good. So guys, even pouring this over ice, so we let it cool. I brought it to a boil, then I let it cool. Gina made me a big pot of espresso. We pour the espresso over the rice milk, and I used my awesome Strassum from Bright Brands, and it feels like I'm in Starbucks. Like I feel so special. Look at that. I even layered it well. I couldn't believe that I was able to do that. And it was so yummy. We just sprinkled a little cinnamon on top. And actually, it was so yummy that my son stole it from me. He doesn't really enjoy coffee too much. So that has a shot of espresso in it. So I'm going to look here at the comments because it looks like you guys thought that was really fun. Kay. So KC Catral said they also have really good horchata in Valencia. So I haven't been to Valencia, but I would like to. Mary Ann Romanillos de Jesus. Yes, it was very yummy. I'm sure you would like to try it as well. And you know what, guys? That means it's time for our Quiz the Cook question, where you guys will get a chance to win a spiralizer from Vitamix, a mixed case of milks from Koita, which will include rice milk. And you'll also get 2 pints of our scoops, our super scoops, which is from the Superfood Grocer. These are vegan ice creams made with soy milk, almond milk, and oat milk. And then you'll also get Mirabai's ebook, her recipe book called Breakfast Person, because we're breakfast people. So you guys will get a chance to win that. So if you have been paying attention then you'll be able to answer this question quite easily. We talked about healthier alternatives to white sugar. We did that while we were watching the video, so I am sure you guys will be able to name any three healthy alternatives to white sugar. Now, you guys know the drill. You have to share the live stream on your Facebook profile, and it needs to be set to public. We want to be able to see your posts, and of course, we want everybody else to see it. Hashtag sharing is caring. We're sharing healthier choices here. So make sure you go ahead and share that. All of you guys can go ahead and give us any three alternatives to white sugar. And there is a lot. I see a lot of people are answering. So Mirabai, I don't know if you can see the comments. There we have our private chat, and then we have our comments on the right side. So you can also see them if you wanted to interact. Someone saying sharing is caring. Yes, that's right. Make sure you guys share the live stream, because you'll get a chance to win your own spiralizer, your own 2 pints of super scoops, your own cookbook from Mirabai, and of course a case of assorted milk from Koita. So just because we're going to give you guys a little bit more time, remember, this is the first question. So the first person who answered correctly and shared the live stream will get to take everything home. Remember that you have to have an address in Metro Manila as well. You guys know this drill, I'm sure. Guys, I'm going to show you some of the milks that you'll get. So this is the rice milk that I used in the dirty horchata. We also have, Koita also has soy, which I used in another recipe that we'll look at later. Almond, oh no, I didn't use the soy, I used the almond in the smoothie bowl, or the oat bowl. I used oat in the smoothie bowl. But these are all the different kinds of plant-based milks that we can take advantage of with Koita Philippines. They also have, obviously, dairy choices as well. But I think we have a winner. Let's see. We do. We have a winner. So congratulations, Benson M. Pangilinan. Benson, congratulations. You will win 2 pints of vegan ice cream from Super Scoops. You'll win a mixed case of milk, both plant-based and dairy, from Koita. You'll win a spiralizer from Vitamix Philippines. And of course, you'll get to take home, or you'll receive in your inbox, the ebook from Mirabai called Breakfast Person. I hope you're a breakfast person, because there are lots of things that you can pull from her recipe, from her cookbook, her recipe book.
You could also eat it during lunch or dinner or dessert, or there's a mix of everything in there.
We call that breakfast for dinner. Right? We do that all the time. I tell you, we really do love breakfast. Okay, guys, are you interested in considering or learning more about vegetarianism or veganism? So if you are, we can chat with Mirabai a little bit more. So I'll share a little bit. When I was in college, and I'm not going to tell you how long ago that was, because my daughter just graduated college. When I was in college, I went through this aversion to meat, and I was vegetarian for about 2 years. And at some point, Dad sat me down, and he really, I guess he didn't I don't know if it was the college life, living away, in a dorm, and then not being happy with cafeteria food, but I just decided, being vegetarian was better for me, which meant I did eat eggs. So I guess you would call me ovo-lactarian, right? So I would eat eggs, and I would eat cheese, and I would have dairy, pretty much, right? So, but everything else I was not into. And I think whenever you approach a different way or a different lifestyle, which of course it's a lifestyle, it's not just cutting things out of your diet. It's more about making sure you get what you need. right? So, Mirabai, you mentioned that you have such a better relationship with food and it's so much more healthier. Tell us about what made you decide to go vegan, and if there are tips you can offer someone if they're considering this lifestyle change.
Okay. So actually, like the reason, I mean, I grew up vegetarian most of my life.
Okay.
And but then because from the age of 13 to 18, I was like strictly vegetarian, like ovo lacto vegetarian. So I had eggs and dairy. And then when I went to college, I was just, I was making excuses for myself. I was like, it's so hard. Um, but
Did you
you
did you
know,
live like on campus or in a dorm? Did you live away from home? Because it is actually kind of hard if you're on your
I,
own.
yeah, I stayed in a condo.
Mhm.
So, it was easy to just walk to school, but it was more of just like, I just wanted the convenience. I mean, I was still going home like for my meals, but, I was just like, in hindsight, I was like, that was such a terrible excuse. Like, being like, it's so hard, because if you really want something, you will find a way to do it.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right.
So, but then it was actually, I got scared that I might be diabetic because a lot of
Oh,
members of my family was diabetics. I was like, oh my gosh, could I be diabetic? Because I can't remember if it was the tissue or the actual toilet bowl, but there was a time that I was like, why are there ants? And I was
oh,
like,
wow.
that's really what triggered like me
The
shifting
change.
my diet. Yeah, because I got really scared, and that's when I became a lot more conscious, and I wanted to find the best diet for me so that I wouldn't get sick, just because I know that prevention is always better than like having to find a cure and having to fix what you've already kind of damaged in your body. um, so that's when I started trying different diets. But I think you have to also know that before jumping into any diet, you need to be aware of your relationship with food.
Yeah,
And if you have any kind of addictive tendencies,
yeah,
it can be very dangerous. And cutting out so many different foods at once can do a lot
right.
more harm than than good for you. So
Agreed.
it kind of went like, I got into, I think I became very like orthorexic. I started binge eating because I was
Oh,
restricting myself so much and trying all of these. I tried paleo diet, I tried this and that. It was bad.
yeah.
Um, and then slowly I found a diet for me that was like, it was focusing on the abundance and not restricting yourself. And that's what really, that's what saved me and saved my relationship with food. And it was a plant-based vegan diet that was, just always thinking in abundance and not like, oh, I can't have this. And it's
Right.
more of like adding more things that is just a lot more nutritious. So you focus on adding rather than just always subtracting, because anytime something is taken away from you, you want it a lot more. So if you tell yourself,
Yeah,
like, I'm not gonna have any chocolate,
that's true. That's true.
all brain is gonna, I want chocolate. I want chocolate.
Right.
I want chocolate. But if you say, I'm allowed to have chocolate and I'm gonna have this piece of chocolate, you're satisfied, you're good, and you can go on with your life and eat your salad, eat your greens, eat your rice. But then you aren't just thinking the entire day about chocolates, because then later you'll have like 2 whole bars of chocolate because the whole day you were like, I can't have any chocolate.
Right.
So
Agree.
really,
Actually, I love how you say that it's talking about abundance or like thinking abundantly, or even I think I'm gonna. I mean, I can even bring that to making healthier choices, not just with diet, but in life in terms of thinking with gratitude, right? And there's just so much that we can be grateful for now, even, just this conversation, learning so much from one another. So thinking abundantly, choosing, how about protein? I mean, how do we make sure if we're vegan or if we're exploring veganism, what kind of options do we have for protein? And what are some of the misconceptions about vegan food? I have one, but I'm going to answer that
okay.
after you share different forms of protein and misconceptions that people have maybe come to you with.
Okay. For protein, there are so many protein sources. You have so many beans. Like we said a while ago, mungo is like it's high in protein. It's delicious.
I love
You
mango.
have like tofu, soy milk. That's great. That's what I love to put in smoothies and stuff to just add extra protein to it. You have like tempeh, which is also soy, but you have like wheat gluten, so you can make a
Hmm.
lot of like meaty things if you
Hmm.
just massage your, or
Right.
you can get the powders. But yeah, a lot of it's actually like if as long as you're eating enough and not restricting yourself.
Yeah.
If you're not on a crazy, ridiculous 1,200 calorie diet, which
Right.
grown adults
Mhm.
should not be doing because that's not enough to sustain your body, then of
Agree.
course you will be deficient in something. You won't get enough protein. But as long as you're eating enough and you're eating a variety of food, fruits and vegetables, grains, legumes, you'll be fine.
Right.
Just
So
focus
a
on
variety, you were saying a variety,
variety.
foods and colors, right? So I think one of the things that I do with my kids is I tell them they have to eat 5 colors a day. And those colors could be fruits or veggies. So whichever one they choose, I'm okay with, as because there's always a lot of fruit in the house, and I always put like 2 or 3 different vegetable choices on the table, and they know they have to, by the end of the day, if they've eaten 5, that's good. Misconceptions.
Misconceptions. One is of course the whole that vegans don't get enough protein. That's not true. Also, protein deficiency is very very uncommon because again, we get enough protein.
From
All
all the
plants
other.
have protein.
Right, right.
um, Also, they think that vegans like are weak because they only eat plants, but honestly, you feel so much better. You feel lighter. You feel stronger. Like I've never felt stronger in my life.
Well,
So
that actually, if we're going to talk about lifestyle changes, right? We were talking earlier on off cam before we started the show, right? We were talking about the different ways we like to move and the different things we can do to stay healthy. My friend Michelle, who was supposed to join us today, we were actually talking about different ways that you can make these little changes in your life that are, in fact, healthier choices. And you were saying, like, vegans are not weak, they're actually strong. Your movement of choice is
mine would be like weightlifting, strength training. That's
right,
my personal
right.
favorite. Yeah.
So, as a vegan, that's totally possible.
Yes. There are a lot of very, very strong vegans out there. You can definitely put on muscle if you wanted to on a vegan diet. You would have to increase your protein, but that's because you have a specific goal.
Right,
If you want to gain a lot of muscle, you got to put in all the work.
right, right. That's it. So, movement, even, another way that we can be healthier is meditation. Have you tried meditation at all?
I mean,
Do you
I
meditate?
don't do like very specific types, but I do a lot of like just sitting and being with myself and disconnecting from,
Social
so
media.
I guess I do because I like to just sit and breathe and just um because
Take it in.
when you breathe well and you breathe around like a lot of I like to surround myself with plants. We have a lot of plants at home, so and I just like to breathe that in because it just feels better and you feel calmer and you feel
Absolutely.
present.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So in yoga, which is my preferred movement, we call that prana, right? So meditating, moving, and then, of course, even living a life full of gratitude and just remembering that there's so much to be thankful. I think, taking those things into consideration are also healthier choices. I will go back to the 5 colors, right? So my kids, they've always known 5 colors. I think you created a salad recipe for us. Could
I
you
did.
walk us through this very colorful salad so
Yes.
our viewers can learn a new salad? And of course, with the spiralizer.
Yes. I like to put like whenever you can add more colors, go for it. Variety is amazing. So I spiralized the cucumber, but it's just 2 months. way, and it's so much easier to prepare than like having vegetables. This one takes so little time. I also spiralize the carrots, and they're really fun because they kind of look like little cookies. Once they come out, it's really fun and it's beautiful, and kids love it. So remember that. If you want your kids to enjoy eating, spiralize a carrot and they'll just have some fun with it.
It's
And
really
then
true.
I put it on some cabbage, and then I put some tomatoes in there, some purple onion, and then I'm making the sauce. So I did garlic, ginger, and then I put some peanut butter. This is unsweetened peanut butter. You can also use sweetened peanut butter.
If you wanted.
Of course, yeah. Then I put calamansi. I love calamansi. Little acid is really good.
Perfect.
I did put some coconut sugar to sweeten this. And I used coconut aminos. You can also use soy sauce or whichever is available to you.
Tamari, soy sauce,
sauce. Whichever you have access to is always the best option. And then you just want to blend that until it's nice and smooth, so that the garlic and the ginger mix in there, and it's delicious. And then you just pour it on your salad, and then I also topped it, of course, with some sesame seeds, because toasted sesame seeds are delicious, and it just adds.
It does. And well, right? So tahini, I know tahini has crazy health benefits, which sesame seeds are made from. Tahini is made from sesame seeds.
Yeah.
So it's also another source of protein. Actually, when I was feeding and making baby food for my kids, grinding up the vegetables, pureeing their vegetables, I'd throw a teaspoon of homemade tahini in there as well for them. It's nutty. The sesame seeds, when they're roasted, are really yummy. So agreed.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have lots of comments here. I do want to address some. So someone is asking here, am I allowed, Rachel and Renacia Robles, am I allowed to join here if I live outside of Metro Manila? You are allowed to join, but we will ask you to send your prizes to an address in Metro Manila. So maybe you want to give the gift of health to a friend, to a relative, to your bestie. Maybe you want to send it to your mother-in-law. Maybe you want to send it to your boyfriend if you're not in Metro Manila. You can still join. Of course, we want to see you here. We also have questions. Let's see. Comments. Rachel Ann also is commenting saying, nowadays, health must be the number one priority of each and every one of us. Agree, Mirabai. I don't know about you, but I'm so much more conscious of what I'm eating now because I know we have to keep our immunity up, right?
Yeah.
So eating right means also keeping yourself healthy, guys. Okay, let's see. Len Jane Cleophas says health is wealth. Mirabai and I both agreed. Let's see. Oh, someone has a nosebleed. Guys, it's okay if you want to answer in Tagalog. You can. We can read the Tagalog answers, but I will speak in English. Mirabai, feel free to speak in Taglish if you would like. But here, yes. So it seems like everybody is very happy with our tips and tricks. We are very excited to share another Quiz the Cook question with you guys. Remember that you will be receiving, if you answer this second Quiz the Cook question properly, and you are the third person, right? So kitchen 143 means the second question is the fourth person who answers correctly. So Mirabai, I'm not sure if you've caught any of our other episodes, but people with really high speed internet were winning a lot. So we had to kind of even it out. So this is why we have 1, 4, 3, and then if you're of a certain age and you would remember 1, 4, 3, 4, 4 for those 5 questions, right? So this next winner will be the fourth person to answer correctly, and you'll win a Paderno spiralizer from Vitamix. You'll also win a case of assorted milk from Koita. You'll also win some super scoops ice cream from Superfood Grocer. And of course, you'll win Breakfast Person from Mirabai. She'll send that to your inbox. Remember that we need an address within Metro Manila, and we would like you to have shared our live stream because hashtag sharing is caring. Mirabai, could you read our question?
The question is, name all the vegetables in this episode's Asian salad.
Okay, and they are answering, even though it's just flashed really quickly. I don't know if we can see how fast they're answering. Of course, everyone really wants to take home these treats. This is really about choosing health. You know, health is wealth in this day and age. So many of our friends and family have been affected, and the different ways that we can take care of ourselves are not just through what we choose to put in, what we choose to eat, but also how we choose to live our lives. I think that could even be like, I don't know, Mirabai, when we first went into quarantine, a lot of people were KonMariing everything, right? They were like organizing, cleaning. Lots of people were getting in the kitchen, trying all these different recipes. And I feel like, as we talk about, the different choices we can make as a lifestyle, there are so many we could probably talk about, but there are other ways we can choose. You were mentioning centering yourself, right? And just like sitting with yourself a little bit, meditating, and then of course realizing what's superfluous, what we don't need in our lives. I think if the pandemic has taught us anything, it's what we really need and what we don't, right?
That's true.
Hashtag say no to drama. Right? So there we go. So you guys, we have lots of people who are answering correctly. You do have to name all of the vegetables that were in the salad, and Mirabai did share them. So let's see if we have a winner. So guys, remember, you have to share the live stream, and you must know someone in Metro Manila that if you are winning it for that person and sharing the love, then we can send the prizes there. So remember that, we can't send super scoops too far out of the metro. It needs to be in the metro. It is perishable. So I think, let's see, looks like we may have, not yet, we don't have a winner. So while we are waiting for,
Could I answer? There was somebody who's asking if they could use the sauce for fresh spring rolls, and yes, 1000%. I love making fresh spring rolls. It's basically the same thing, except you put all the vegetables in rice paper, dip it.
That's yummy. And so one of the things that I actually can attest to, when you wrap it in, you wrap all of those veggies in the rice paper roll, the kids are more likely to pick it up because they can hold it. That's and they true. Like eating with their hands. So anytime you guys want to kind of convince your kids to eat something, roll it up and let them, whether it's a tortilla, a rice paper wrapper, or something that you're also going to Olympia wrapper, any of them, any of those things, you can wrap it up, and I'm sure the kids will like to pick it up and eat it and dip. So thank you for catching that question, Mirabai. So if you guys have any other questions for Mirabai, please leave them in the comments section. If you're watching from the Rappler Facebook page, this is where we get, you guys can answer the questions to be part of the giveaway. And then, of course, this is where we can see all of your questions and your comments. So if you are watching on YouTube or Twitter or even on Mama and Manila page, we will see your comments there, but YouTube and Twitter, switch over to Rappler Facebook page so we can interact and chat. So are there any other questions? It looks like we have lots of good answers.
Lots of answers.
Okay. Yes, it's so I think we have a winner. We do, because we said the veggies, right?
Yes.
Perfect. All right, so it looks like C. De La Cruz. You have all of the answers correct. Let's see if we can put your answers up on top. There we are. CD De La Cruz. Carrots, cucumber, cabbage, tomato, and onion. Very good. You were paying attention when Mirabai was explaining the recipe. Congratulations. You will win a Paderno spiralizer so you can create this recipe, this salad at home. You'll win some super scoops from the superfood grocer. You'll win a case of assorted milks from Koita, and you'll get Mirabai's Breakfast Person ebook, so you can even look for some of her other recipes to create at home, not just for breakfast, but for any meal that you would like to eat well. Okay, so we talked about wellness as a lifestyle, right? I think you and I both, when you were talking earlier, you said, you look at things more abundantly. You don't want to feel guilty about eating something. We don't need to atone for our sins as much as, if we look at what we're eating and we're eating it mindfully, then we shouldn't feel like we're sinning, so to speak, right? So one of the different ways that I know for our household, in 2017, Nino had, you met Nino, we had this really bad health scare for him. And after coming out of the hospital, we met with a dietitian and nutritionist who, ended up being a really good friend who does do boot camp. So I took, always wanted to take one of her boot camp classes. I bet you would like them because you like the strength training. So she talked to us and we, simple changes. She talked about simple changes. And one of the things that we decided that Nino could do without at that time, because he needed to lose a little bit of weight quite quickly in terms of, being healthy. Diabetes runs in both of our families. So does heart health, right? Being mindful of your heart. And we wanted to be sure that as early as then, we were making the correct changes and living in a way where we weren't completely limiting ourselves, but just making better choices. So one of the things that Bex told us was, start looking at smoothie bowls, start looking at smoothies. You could put other things in the smoothies. It doesn't always have to be sweet. You could be green. You could put your greens in there as well. And that's actually when I purchased a Vitamix. So I purchased a Vitamix then, and for like 2 weeks straight, I gave Nino smoothie bowls every morning for breakfast. And I varied them. I changed them up. He never got bored. But he also realized, even his choices of what he was being mindful with or what he was not being mindful with was his relationship with food. And he always kind of had the impression that smoothie bowls, they weren't going to be as yummy as, like let's say tocino and rice. You can't compare them, but he always said after those 2 weeks, one of the things he said was, I was so satisfied and I never felt like I was eating the same thing over and over again. So that was a huge change in lifestyle for us, right? So the Vitamix helped us make those changes for him and for him to also see, now of course it's a mainstay in our kitchen. Jelly loves making ice pops. We throw some fruit in there, put them in her molds, and she's excited because she gets to do it herself. She knows what goes in it. And of course it's all fruit. What's not healthier than that? So just these little things, I think that I'm not saying you need to give up rice if you eat rice every morning, but I think just being conscious of little things that you can do along the way. So maybe instead of, a cup of rice, you have half a cup of rice, to feel, I think a lot of times, this is something else I learned, is we just keep eating, but we already are full. And that's that understanding that the message from our tummy doesn't get to our brain as quickly because we're not also eating mindfully. Like sometimes we eat too fast or we don't chew well enough. And those are things that I think, just this little one change in diet or lifestyle, like incorporating more fruits, meditating, and then, of course, like you said, getting moving. You for strength training, myself, I'd love to get back to yoga. And of course, just being mindful of our thoughts and, instead of thinking of lack, thinking abundantly.
I think also like if, for example, rice, if you think of it more of in abundance, instead of, because you know how the very Pinoy breakfast is something silog, so that's like rice, meat, egg. As simple as adding vegetables to it, for example, will fill you up a bit more, and you're adding a lot more nutrients in there. So if you think sometimes of like, what can I add? Like, what vegetable can I add to this? What fruit can I add to this? Because eventually you're going to start getting fuller, and you're also, the more you eat vegetables and fruits, the more you will start to crave them. So it's really like you are kind of reprogramming your body to crave different foods. So I think that's a great way to, just add.
Such good advice. So definitely adding more than that little bit of achara. We need more vegetables on the plate, right?
Makes a big difference. A few pieces of broccoli, for example, or cauliflower, or like kangkong, any kind of vegetable, it will add, and your stomach will trigger your brain at some point, like earlier on than it normally would. It doesn't have any vegetables. It's be like, hey, we're full, and then you're like, okay.
So much also, better for you.
Extra fiber is great for your digestive system.
Of course. And that actually, I mean, that's gut health, right? Yeah. So when you talk about making sure you get enough fiber, the fruits, the vegetables, all of that, it's all gut health.
Yeah.
So those are all, that's another aspect. I think we could probably do a whole nother episode on gut health without being gross, right?
I could be like,
right. Okay. So I mentioned smoothie bowls earlier and what Nino enjoyed, and we do have 2 smoothies that we're going to share. I created a smoothie bowl, and Mirabai created a smoothie drink that you can actually drink. So we'll share those 2 videos with you back to back. So for this smoothie bowl, I used oat milk, and that was because I wanted to also use the super scoops that we would top it with. It's a huge smoothie bowl, and actually you could split it with someone. But here I put ripe saba, strawberries, a splash of oat milk, just a splash. Some camu, which actually is it's found in the Amazon rainforest, and maca. So I would always put maca in Nino's smoothie bowls before, and we just got used to just having it in the house all the time. It improves your mood, gives you energy, gives you endurance. This is the money shot. I love this shot, Mirabai. Like whenever we do Vitamix videos, I really love that. How it just comes into it. Yeah, that swirl. So maca also reduces your blood pressure, and camu is good for viral infections. So that's another reason to just add like a tablespoon or a teaspoon to your smoothie bowls or your smoothie drinks. Again, adding fun colors. I put some strawberries on top, the different colored kiwi. I even used the choconola, which is also from the superfood grocer. I love this. I was snacking on it earlier. Some nut butter. And then what else did I put there? I think I put a scoop of the peanut butter. So I feel like peanut butter goes good with strawberry and banana. So the difference between what I made and what Mirabai made is that mine is in bowl form, so it's a little bit thicker. And Mirabai, you can walk us through what you made, which is super easy too.
So I made a chocolate peanut butter smoothie because I really love to just use things that most people will have in their kitchen. That way it's like you don't have to go out of your way to get something. So I have frozen ripe bananas. Always freeze them when they're super ripe. Also, when you make smoothies and you have frozen ripe bananas, you don't need to add any sweetener. I put bananas, I put some ice, I put cocoa powder, I put peanut butter, and I put some soy milk. So this has, you have your carbs, you have your fiber, you have your protein in there, so it's pretty filling. And it just tastes delicious. It's like a chocolate. It's like chocolate in smoothie form, and you have all of these things you might already have in your kitchen, in your pantry. So it's
right. Right. So I think it's important to remember. I forgot to mention. Mirabai reminded me. A lot of times when you have your fruit, you let it. Sometimes there's fruit that gets overripe. Like the bananas are the first things to get overripe.
Yeah.
Don't throw them away. Like a lot of people will choose to make banana bread or some kind of baked thing. I actually throw them in a freezer bag and throw them in the freezer because we love our smoothie bowls, right? So any of the fruit, like I even sometimes, if you forget about grapes and then they kind of they're not as snappy anymore. Again, I'll wash them and throw them in the freezer in a bag, remove them from the stems, and you can make a grape, add it to another type of smoothie or a shake. And the kids love it, especially on a hot day.
They even make great snacks like just on their own, like just frozen grapes, just snacking on them.
My kids like them that much. Super. I feel like, when I also try to be very mindful not to waste any food. I mean, we're blessed with so much food that, I'm very mindful. So I'll be the first to throw things in the freezer, mix them up, or even, even vegetables. You could do that with vegetables too. Like sometimes the tomatoes get a little overripe. I'll throw them in the freezer and then put them in sinigang. Or, put them in tomato sauce for extra texture. I guess in our kitchen, I really try to be mindful, not just of what we're eating, but of course, how we're using our resources, which is another way that we have to kind of be responsible, right? Especially in this day and age. So, guys, that brings us to our next Quiz the Cook question. Remember, up for grabs is a Paderno spiralizer from Vitamix. We also have a box of assorted milk from Koita, 2 pints of super scoops, and you guys are super lucky today because Mirabai is giving away an ebook called Breakfast Person. So you guys can use any of those recipes any time of day because we like breakfast for dinner too. All right, so you have to live in Metro Manila or know someone that you would like to share this loot with. And of course, you need to be watching either from the Rappler or the Mama in Manila Facebook page so we can see your answers. Remember that you should have shared the live stream already and your profile or the post should be set to public so we can go check it out. All right, guys, we have the question. Here it is. What dairy substitute was used in Mirabai's smoothie? So she talked about it. Koita has a version of it as well.
Protein.
There you go. Very good. Right. So, really. So, okay, wait. What question number is this? This is question number 3. So this 3 or 4? This is question number 3. So it's 1, 4, 3. So we're picking the third person to answer correctly. And the question is, what dairy substitute was used in Mirabai's smoothie? It looks like we have a lot of different answers. Some the same too. And there actually are quite a few different plant-based milk.
So many options now. I think they can milk every plant thing.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Once I saw there's pea milk and I'm like, you can milk peas. Amazing.
I've never seen pea milk. Where did you see that?
I I mean, there is a brand that has it here, but the first time I had it was I think I was in Finland, and I was just like, what?
Wow.
Milk made of
See?
peas?
Right. So those are the things like if we would feel I actually me, I'm gonna say personally, sometimes I would feel bad if I see things abroad and then, I'll I won't hoard because that's not abundant, right? I won't hoard, but I'll take like one or two home and I'll be like, oh, I'm going to look for this when I go back to Manila. And sometimes you get so sad because you won't find those options here. But now, like you said, there really are a lot of options,
So
even
many.
here in Manila. And it just makes me happy. It actually makes me happy to have all these choices. Who doesn't want choices? Okay, I think we have a winner. Congratulations, Sean Palakpak. Palakpak means clap, right? So he answered correctly with
That's
soy
the
milk.
perfect name.
It is, Sean. Congratulations. So someone from the Rappler team will be getting in touch so you can provide your Metro Manila address and contact information so we can send you so our partners can send you the prizes. Okay, but don't fret, guys. I do want to show you some things that we used, that I used during recipe development and preparation of what we shared today. We talked about camu camu. I used that in the smoothie bowl. And we also talked about maca powder. So these are the things, all of these are plant powders, right? Which is the superfood grocer has a tremendous selection of different plant-based powders that you can use to supplement or to add to your food, to add to your drinks. I mean, if you wanted to go ahead and just make matcha tea, you totally could, or make like a matcha latte. And you could use your rice milk. You could use your rice milk or your soy. I have a preference. I enjoy almond milk. So I really like almond milk. And I will also confess that I gave Jelly almond milk the other day with her cereal. And she's not used to it. She's not used to plant-based milk as much as the big kids are. But she tasted her cereal and she goes, Mom, there's something wrong. I think it's not my milk. And she looked and then she looked at her container and she knew right away that it was my milk that she was drinking. And so I need to get her used to that, right? So these are the products that are now available, which, we were talking about earlier. It's hard when you grow accustomed or you have a taste and you want these things and then you can't find them. So I was in the grocery store earlier this morning. Miggy and I went out really quickly to grab some fruits and I saw that Koita was in Rustans in Central Square, right? So they had all the different brands, all the different varieties, and they even had oat milk for coffee. So I didn't know, Mirabai, did you know there's an oat milk for coffee variety?
Yes, and also oat milk is my preferred milk for coffee. Like once I started having, but it also has to be a good milk. Like I'm struggling here in Davao. They don't have a good like oat milk option.
Well,
Um,
hopefully you can try the Koita version
no,
and
I'm
maybe
excited
you'll
to
like
try it
that
once
one.
I get home because for
Yeah,
me, if I'm gonna have milk in my coffee, it has to be oat milk.
has to be oat milk. I'm gonna try it. I normally drink my coffee black, but I'll try it.
Oat milk. Oat milk is great. I love it.
Okay, so savory oat milk in my coffee. I'm like, who is this? I'm ready. Okay, so guys, right? Okay, so in terms of just choosing healthier for the family, these powders and supplements, and of course, even the vegan ice creams, right? These are definitely there's no sacrificing flavor. Oh, I forgot. Remember, I was telling you misconception. I wanted to share one misconception that I often hear when we talk about vegan and vegetarianism is there's no taste.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, what? it's like I posted a salad that I made, and I actually stole the tagline of something else, and I said, "Taste the rainbow," because all these different colors in a salad. How can you say that there's no flavor or there's no taste? It's not tasty. Like in my experience, anything that's fresh like that has is full of flavor, and of course, we know packed with nutrients.
But
So,
also
guys,
the one thing to flavor and season food, it's plants. If you just had, a regular meal without any plants, you'll be like, where's the taste?
right.
Unless you're just using salt, which at some point gets really boring. It's herbs and spices that are like, just give like deliciousness, and they come from plants. So to say that vegan or vegetarian food, like plant-based food, is not delicious, that just means you're trying the wrong food and you're not seasoning the food.
Exactly. That's what I was actually going to say. Is like, how are you guys preparing it? What are you doing? Come hang out with Mirabai and me, and let's learn from her, because I know that everything.
Food.
Right? Okay.
Season your
So
food. That's it. Season your food. Whatever diet you're eating, season your food because it's important.
exactly.
And
Exactly.
have like delicious food.
And definitely season with more all natural flavors than with the processed, right? So this is where I also kind of say fresh is best.
And fresh is cheaper, so for the most part. Um, yeah. Except for like the super things that you don't even know what's in it anymore, then
Right.
of course it's always like really, really cheap. But then you have to ask yourself, why is it really cheap?
Why?
Is it actually good for me? So it's like,
Right. So when I actually was promoting the episode, one of my followers was actually asking. Someone sent me a message and said, "Oh, it was about the matcha waffles," and they were like, "Oh, this looks good. How did you do it?" Of course, I explained, and I said, "Tune in, watch." And then she asked me, "Well, how do you feel about these other like vegetarian options on the market now? Of these kinds of things that you can find in the frozen section?" And I said, "Well, I'm not going to say anything bad about them, but I think if you're going to compare them to something that's fresh, that you pulled off a vine, or that grew in the ground and is not processed, then of course the healthier option is the fresh, right?" So in this case, you got to be really careful what you're looking at, guys. Make sure that you read the labels. Make sure that they're not adding a lot of other things in there to make it tasty or kind of fool you, right?
If you don't understand it, just be like kind of limited. I would never say like don't have it at all, because again, that comes with like, this restrictive mindset.
Right.
You'll always
Right.
be like, if it maybe has ingredients I don't fully understand, maybe if you want to look into it, great. Or you just limit it, and so that you have a more balanced approach instead of being
Right.
like no, because that will always,
Agreed.
But if you're
Agreed.
like a bit of this, for example, this processed mock meat, vegan alternative with some rice, veggies, that's fine.
Right.
Overall, you're getting like a good filling meal.
Right, of course. Yeah, so moderation, minding, and then of course not feeling like you're depriving yourself also helps. Okay, we have a question for you, Mirabai. I'm going to let you answer this question. What is the difference between vegan and vegetarian? That's a great question.
The difference between vegan and vegetarian is, of course, like vegetarian it's like a diet. It's mostly just a diet of like you don't want to eat meat,
Yeah.
because you're still eating eggs and dairy. Well, vegan is actually, the root of it is an ethical choice to not exploit animals. And part of that is your diet, because it is something that you do breakfast, lunch, dinner. So diet wise, the difference is absolutely nothing from animals. So no honey, no eggs, no dairy. Also like no gelatin. Gelatin comes from
Right.
animal bones and
Yes.
other discards, which
Right.
I find not
But
from me.
the alternative for that is agar, right?
Yeah,
Which
there's
comes from
agar,
kiwi.
carrageenan, or like gulaman. Gulaman
Yes.
is that's vegan. So like
Right.
That's great.
That's good. That's good. Okay, another question from Maureen Albania Hira. Do you crave meat when you are just starting to be a vegan? That's a good
um,
question.
for me, I wasn't really craving meat because I did go most of my life not eating meat. So it was something that from the beginning, my parents were already kind of, I was acquired to not eating um,
Right.
that many meat things in my life. But
Right.
the hard thing for me was dairy. So a year before I went vegan, I had told a vegan friend of mine, I was like, I don't think I could ever go vegan because I love cheese too much because
Right.
it's the most addicting thing. Like
Right.
it's meant, like dairy is meant to bring like a little calf to like a huge cow in like not that long a period of time
It's not
compared to
really
me.
meant for us, I think.
It was the cheese that I had a hard time with. The meat though, not so much. It was pretty easy for me. And then eventually I just stopped craving cheese. I don't even crave vegan cheese so much. I do make a delicious vegan cheese. But
Which
it's
nuts
not
do you
something that
use for
I
that? Which nuts do you use?
it
Do you use
depends.
nuts?
I do. In my cream cheese, I have like 3 cheese recipes in my ebook. I use different ones. I use cashew or almond. For my cream cheese, almond is the best option because cashew has such a strong flavor.
Yeah.
Um, but you can really like play around with it and see which nut you prefer because I think we all have different preferences as well. But yeah, I love playing around.
Do you have one of the cheese recipes in your ebook?
Yeah, I have 3. So I have like a cheese pimiento, which is like childhood favorite. Cheese pimiento, like those
Yes.
that come in jars.
Load it up on a
I
hot
had to make a
pandesal.
vegan version, of course. And it has oats in it, so it's like extra filling and it's delicious. It's just
Yum. Okay, we have one more question. Then we're going. Actually, we'll answer that question. We have a couple of questions actually for you, Mirabai. I'm so glad that everybody's so interactive. Before we ask your questions, I'm going to ask the next quiz the cook question. Mirabai, could you read it for us? Da, 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 da. Wait, it's there somewhere. There it is.
quiz the cook. Where does horchata originate from?
Okay, so while you guys are answering, you know what you will get to take home is a spiralizer from Vitamix, some super scoops from Superfood Grocer, a mixed case of both plant and dairy based milk from Koita, and of course, Ebook, Breakfast Person from Mirabai. I'm so excited for you guys to receive this because it will just open your eyes to understanding that there can be flavorful vegan dishes that you can make at home that are easy. Okay, so back to the questions because you have a lot. From Iska Castro. I know we talked about this earlier. I guess she wasn't here. Let's just address it again. Is it possible to get enough protein on a vegetarian diet?
And that's yes, 100%. As long as you're eating enough, you're eating a variety, you will get enough protein. Like that's not something you need to worry about. Maybe unless you are an athlete and you need to perform at a higher level, then you should see a nutritionist and talk about what you might need. But for everyday people, you'll have enough. You can definitely
Yes.
eat enough as long as you are eating a good variety and like an abundance of
Absolutely. So I hope that answered your question, guys. We are dispelling that myth that vegetarians and vegans might not get enough protein. It's really about educating yourself and, of course, understanding the different ways that you can make healthier choices. Okay. Remember, again, we do have everyone answering for our Quiz the Cook question. This is the 4th question. So remember, it's 14344. So the 4th person to answer correctly who has shared the live, who has an address in Metro Manila that they are going to have everything shipped to. And of course, you're answering on either the Rappler or the Mama in Manila Facebook page. Because of course, guys, we need to see your answers. So I think we may have, looks like we do. We have a winner. Congratulations, Steph Raduca. You are going to take home a spot. Oh, no, it's not North Africa. That's not the right answer. North Africa is not the
No, they
answer.
searched what was the correct. They said they searched.
No, it is. Well, it's from Mexico. Okay, we will take the North African. If you searched and you Googled it, it really is from. So my Mexican friend, my friend who's married to a Mexican, I actually asked her how to make it. So the recipe that I am sharing is a different variations. So it is North Africa, even though I said it was from Mexico. I stand corrected. Google, Mr. Google has corrected me, and I'm okay with that. So, congratulations.
There are a lot of similar things, dishes and everything that you find in different cultures. So it's,
Absolutely.
it's understandable.
Yeah, it is, and that's okay. So I am all about knowing when I'm wrong. So I can take that. All right. So congratulations, Steph. Make sure you give over your information to our social media team because we will be sending those prizes out to you if you in your Metro Manila address, of course. Congratulations. You have a new spiralizer, some milk from Koita, some vegan ice creams from the Superfood Grocer, and an awesome ebook for recipes if you are a breakfast person. Okay, Mirabai, you and I, we had such a fun time here. It ended up just being the two of us, which was totally cool because I feel like I learned so much more from you than I did when we first met. As always, if you guys have any questions for Mirabai or you want to learn more about how to adopt a vegan lifestyle or a healthier lifestyle, Mirabai, where can they find you? And where can they purchase your ebook?
You can mostly find me on Instagram. So that's just Mirabai with 2 extra eyes. Or you can, and if you want to get my ebook, you can go to mirabaisebastian.com and you can purchase it there. I have different versions where you can have the macros in case you're trying to watch what goes into your body and how much of it. There's also, there's one without because I know that some people don't want to be seeing those things because it can be triggering. But yeah, you can check it out at mirabaisebastian.com.
Awesome. So I know I like looking at your feed because it's so colorful and it's fun, and you really do put out good vibes. So guys, if you do want to follow Mirabai and be inspired, you can go ahead and do that. If there are other things that you would like to learn about or that you want us to help, that you want us to research more about and educate you guys, please send us a message either at Kitchen143 or to me, Mama in Manila. We're always looking forward to, giving you guys what you want to learn about. Maybe it's something Italian. Maybe it's more vegan or vegetarian questions or topics. So go ahead and send us those messages because we do want to give you what you would like to see. Okay. So we have one more quiz the cook question, and this would have been perfect if Michelle was here to help us read this question. But Mirabai and I have talked all throughout. You've had these 4 questions about the different foods that we would choose to be healthier. But I think we both agree that it's a lifestyle. So let's have the 4th person who will answer correctly, has shared the live, lives in Metro Manila, and of course has been paying attention to know what 3 ways you can approach a more holistic lifestyle or holistic health. What are the 3 ways that we kind of talked about all throughout the episode? So this is the last quiz the cook. Up for grabs. We will end with this one. up for grabs is a spiralizer. So you can create beautiful, colorful, healthy salads at home from Vitamix. You'll also get a case of milk from Koita, both dairy and plant options. You'll get some superfood super scoops, ice cream, not ice cream, super scoops, dairy-free ice cream delivered to your home. And of course, you'll have an ebook delivered to your inbox if you are a breakfast person. Care of Mirabai. Okay, here's the last quiz the cook question. Besides healthy eating, name 3 ways in which we could also approach holistic health. And now I know you guys pay attention, and I really do hope that some of the tips that we've shared with you today, you can take home, take to heart, maybe try and implement with your family. Living in an abundant way, of course, remembering that it's not just the food that you eat. It's all about choosing a healthier lifestyle. And I think if anything, this is the time to do it. So many of our friends and family have been affected, and it's while things are a little bit better in the sense that I know some of the people that I know that actually have contracted COVID recently, it's a little bit milder, but it's still something that we have to be mindful of. These are like choices that we can make every day, not just with the food we eat, to be healthier, right? Less stress. You look better too when you stress less, right? Less wrinkles, guys. Okay, here we go. I think we have lots of good answers, and I do hope you guys take that home with you, that you try and do some of these, make these small changes. So we have 3 different ways that we talked about that I know even, they're not hard actually. No, Mirabai, I mean, if we think about it,
Yeah.
these
Also, but like aside from like the ones that we did, like the 3 that we discussed, is I think one thing that a lot of people don't really consider so much is the fact that they should be getting enough sleep. Like this is not part of the 3, okay? This is so you
yes.
can answer this. But I
Yeah,
think a
we
lot of
didn't talk
people
about
are not
that.
sleeping enough and getting enough like good sleep, because that makes such a big difference.
Huge,
Your
huge.
body needs to, reset, needs to like, you know, you have
Yeah,
to take that time to just sleep.
it's true. Actually, it's underrated. A lot of people don't even talk about it. You need like a solid, how many hours? You need solid 6 hours. I think as you get older, you need a little less sleep.
Yeah.
I know the kids need 8 to 11 hours. And but it's true. And stressing less also means like letting. So this is one of the things that in our D group when we talk, is when you sleep, God works. So let it go, release it, rest, and then He's looking out for you. So in this case, you can rest because your body needs it as well. It's not just your body; it's your mind. I think we have a winner, and this is. It's a little bit of a variation as to what we talked about, right, Mirabai? But I think it works because one of the things we said, of course, meditation and movement, so exercising and living a life of gratitude. So Tessie, she is the one that answered closest, which was be positive. So you could be positive and be thankful at the same time. Meditation and exercise. So guys, those are just some of the things that we can do to make healthier choices as we kick off the year, and of course, look forward to a brighter 2022, not just for ourselves, but also for our families that we are feeding here at Kitchen 143. So, guys, see you in 2 weeks. We will be back here, same bat time, same bat channel, and take care and be safe. Bye bye.